In the annals of horse racing history, there exists a name that resonates with unparalleled greatness: Secretariat, affectionately known as Big Red. From his majestic birth to his awe-inspiring Triple Crown triumph, his story captivates hearts and minds alike. Secretariat's legacy extends far beyond. With his record-breaking 31 lengths victory in the Belmont Stakes, often hailed as the greatest race ever run by a thoroughbred, his heart, estimated to be 2.5 times larger than the average horse's, symbolizes his unmatched spirit and determination. With 263 roads in the United States named after him, Secretariat's influence transcends generations. Join us on an extraordinary journey through the life and legacy of the greatest North American racehorse of all time. Chapter number 1. The Birth and Legacy of Secretariat. Secretariat, one of the most celebrated thoroughbreds in horse racing history, was officially bred by Christopher Chenery's Meadow stud. However, the breeding was actually arranged by his daughter, Penny Chenery, who took over the running of the stable in 1968 when her father became ill. Secretariat's sire was Bold Ruler, and his dam was Something Royal, a daughter of Prince Aquilo. Owned by the Phipps family, Bold Ruler was a remarkable horse, a leading sire in North America from 1963 to 1969 and again in 1973, and earning Horse of the Year honors in 1957. After retiring to stud at Claiborne Farm, most of Bold Ruler's matings were with mares owned by the Phipps family, and few of his offspring were sold at public auction. To introduce new blood into their breeding program, the Phipps family occasionally negotiated full sharing agreements with other mare owners. Instead of charging a stud fee for Bold Ruler, they would arrange for multiple matings, either with 2 mares in 1 year or 1 mare over 2 years. If 2 foals were produced, the Phipps family would keep one and the mare's owner the other, with a coin toss determining the first pick. In 1969, Penny Chenery and Ogden Phipps had a coin toss to decide the first pick of foals from their breeding agreement. Phipps won and chose a filly from Something Royal, who became the bride, while Chenery received a colt from Hasty Matilda and the unborn 1970 foal from Something Royal. That 1970 foal turned out to be Secretariat. Birth. On March 30, 1970 at 12:10 a.m. at Meadow Stud in Caroline County, Virginia, Something Royal gave birth to a bright red chestnut colt with 3 white socks and a star with a narrow stripe. The foal stood at 45 minutes old and nursed 30 minutes later. Howard Gentry, Meadow Stud's manager, was present at the foaling and later remarked, "He was a very well-made foal. He was as perfect a foal as I ever delivered." The colt soon distinguished himself, leading the other foals and displaying a lively personality. To us, he was Big Red, and he had a personality. He was a clown and was always cutting up, always into some devilment, recalled Robert Gentry, Howard's nephew. Penny Chenery's first impression of the foal was summed up in one word noted in her notebook: "Wow." Secretariat's early life, lineage, and the circumstances surrounding his birth set the stage for a horse that would captivate the world with his extraordinary achievements on the racetrack. Chapter number 2. The Making of a Champion. Secretariat, racing in Meadow Stable's iconic blue and white checkered colors, quickly became a sight to behold. While he never wore track bandages, he often sported a blinker hood. This not only helped him stay focused but also curbed his tendency to veer toward the rail during races. In January 1972, Secretariat joined the winter stable of trainer Lucien Lauren at Hialeah. Despite his majestic physique, he initially came across as awkward and clumsy, often outpaced by his more nimble stablemates. While his peers could run a quarter mile in a swift 23 seconds, Secretariat lumbered along at 26 seconds. His regular exercise riders, Jim Gaffney and Charlie Davis, had differing first impressions. Davis was not impressed, describing Secretariat as a big fat sucker who seemed in no hurry to prove himself. The quality was there, Davis admitted, but he didn't show it until he wanted to. Gaffney, on the other hand, was awestruck from the start. He recalled his first ride on Secretariat in early 1972. "It was like having this big red machine under me. From that very first day, I knew he had a power and strength that I had never felt before." Groom Eddie Sweat played a crucial role in Secretariat's daily care, developing a close bond with the horse. Sweat once remarked, "I guess a groom gets closer to a horse than anyone. The owner, the trainer, they maybe see him once a day, but I lived with him. worked with him. Lauren provided Penny Chenery with regular updates on Secretariat's progress, often noting that the colt was still learning or needed to shed his baby fat. Chenery recalled a memorable comment from Lauren during training. "Your big, bold ruler colt, don't show me nothing. He can't outrun a fat man." Despite this, Secretariat made steady progress throughout the spring. On June 6, Secretariat wore blinkers for the first time, which helped him focus, resulting in a solid half-mile workout in 47.6 seconds. On June 24, he achieved the fastest workout of the day, running 6 furlongs in 1:12.8 on a sloppy track. Lauren immediately called Chenery at her Colorado home, excitedly declaring that Secretariat was ready to race. Thus began the journey of a colt destined to become a legend, overcoming early doubts and showcasing his innate power and grace. Chapter number 3, Rising Star, the 2-year-old season. Secretariat's 2-year-old season in 1972 was marked by a series of electrifying performances that hinted at his future greatness. He debuted on July 4 at Aqueduct Racetrack, where despite a rough start and traffic, he finished a close 4th. Returning on July 15, he won by 6 lengths as the 6-5 favorite. With Ron Turcotte as his jockey, Secretariat claimed an impressive victory on July 31 at Saratoga. In August, he won the Sanford Stakes by 3 lengths against the favored Linda's Chief and then Dazzle in the Hopeful Stakes, winning by 5 lengths. He continued his streak with a 1.5 length win in the Belmont Futurity on September 16. Despite being disqualified and placed second in the Champagne Stakes on October 14, Secretariat rebounded with an 8-length win in the Laurel Futurity on October 28. He concluded the season with a 3.5-length victory in the Garden State Futurity on November 18. His dominance earned him the Eclipse Award for American Champion 2-year-old male horse and the rare honor of being named 1972 American Horse of the Year, edging out the undefeated filly La Prevoyante. Chapter number 4, Overcoming Adversity, the Road to the Derby. In January 1973, the death of Christopher Chenery, founder of Meadow Stables, forced his daughter Penny to consider selling Secretariat to cover estate taxes. Instead, with Seth Hancock of Claiborne Farm, she brilliantly syndicated the horse, selling 32 shares at $190,000 each, totaling a record-breaking $6.08 million. Secretariat, wintering in Florida, made his season debut on March 17 in the Bay Shore Stakes at Aqueduct, overcoming a narrow gap to win decisively despite a claim of foul that was dismissed after review. On April 7, in the Gotham Stakes, trainer Lucien Lauren experimented with Secretariat's pace, leading him to a record-matching victory. However, in his final Kentucky Derby preparation, the Wood Memorial, Secretariat finished a surprising 3rd due to a painful abscess. This loss, amid media speculation and tension with Sham's trainer Pancho Martin, cast doubt on Secretariat's Derby prospects, questioning his stamina and soundness. Despite the whispers, Secretariat's remarkable syndication deal and his powerful performances set the stage for an unforgettable racing season. Chapter number 5, Triumph of a Champion, the Triple Crown. Let's start with the 1973 Kentucky Derby. The 1973 Kentucky Derby on May 5 drew a record-breaking crowd of 134,476 to Churchill Downs, the largest in North American racing history. Secretariat and Anglelight were the 3-2 favorites, with Sham closely behind at 5-2. The race started chaotically as Twice a Prince caused mayhem in the stalls. Sham suffered injuries but surged ahead, only to be overtaken by Secretariat, who emerged from the back of the pack. Secretariat battled Sham down the stretch, ultimately winning by 2.5 lengths, with our native finishing 3rd. Secretariat's performance was nothing short of legendary. He ran each quarter-mile segment faster than the one before, culminating in a still-standing record of 1:59. No horse had ever completed the Derby in under 2 minutes, a feat unmatched until Monarchos in 2001. Sports writer Mike Sullivan captured the awe of the moment. "I was at Secretariat's Derby in '73. That was just beauty, you know." He started in last place, as he tended to do. It looked like Sham's race going into the last turn. Sham was fast, a beautiful horse who would have had the Triple Crown in another year. It seemed like nothing could be faster. And then, suddenly there was a disruption in the corner of your eye. Before you could process it, Secretariat had passed Cham. No one had ever seen anything run like that. It was like he was some other animal out there. Moving to the next race, the 1973 Preakness Stakes. In the electrifying 1973 Preakness Stakes on May 19, Secretariat broke last but swiftly surged into action with a breathtaking last-to-first move on the first turn. Reflecting on his pivotal decision during the race, jockey Ron Turcotte remarked, "I let my horse drop back, but when I saw them backing up into me, I knew I had to make a move. So I just breezed by them." Secretariat blazed through the second quarter mile in under 22 seconds, seizing the lead with 5.5 furlongs to go and never looked back, ultimately winning by 2.5 lengths. The astonishing feat marked the first time in history that the top 3 finishers in the Derby and Preakness were identical, with each horse maintaining the same distance between them. However, controversy ensued over the race's time, with conflicting reports from the infield teletimer and clockers. Despite the dispute, Secretariat's victory was later recognized as a new stakes record. As anticipation for the Belmont Stakes mounted, Secretariat's fame soared to unprecedented heights, gracing the covers of esteemed national magazines and capturing the hearts of a nation yearning for respite from the tumultuous backdrop of Watergate and the Vietnam War. On to the final test, the 1973 Belmont Stakes. In the highly anticipated Belmont Stakes on June 9, only 4 contenders dared to challenge Secretariat, including the formidable Cham and 3 others deemed as long shots by the betting public. Twice a Prince, My Gallant, and Private Smiles. With the odds heavily stacked in Secretariat's favor, no show bets were taken, and he was sent off as the overwhelming 1-10 favorite before a crowd of 69,138 spectators, marking the second largest attendance in Belmont history. As the sun cast a golden glow over the track, Secretariat sprang from the gate, quickly taking the rail as Cham charged up beside him. They blazed through the first quarter mile in 23 seconds and the next in 22, setting a record pace and leaving the field 10 lengths behind. Unfazed, Secretariat maintained his speed, hitting the mile mark in a stunning 1:34 seconds. Entering the stretch, he unleashed a final burst of power, crossing the finish line 31 lengths ahead and smashing the margin of victory record set by Count Fleet in 1943. His record-breaking time of 2:24 flat not only shattered the previous track and stakes record, but also stands as the fastest 1.5 miles on dirt in history. The crowd erupted into thunderous cheers as Secretariat's historic triumph unfolded before their eyes, leaving them breathless with disbelief and awe. Widely regarded as the greatest performance by a North American racehorse in the 20th century, Secretariat secured his place in racing immortality as the 9th Triple Crown winner in history, ending a 25-year drought since Citation's triumph in 1948. Chapter number 6, Post-Triple Crown. Continued dominance. 3 weeks after his triumphant Belmont win, Secretariat was shipped to Arlington Park for the June 30 Arlington Invitational. Trainer Lucien Lauren noted, "Even before the Belmont, I didn't know how I could give this horse a rest. He's so strong and full of energy. If I don't run him, he's going to hurt himself in his stall." The 1 1/8 mile race with a $125,000 purse attracted a crowd of 41,223, the largest at Arlington in 3 decades. Declared Secretariat Day by Mayor Richard Daley, the event saw Secretariat break poorly but quickly take the lead, eventually winning by 9 lengths in 1:47 flat, just 1/5 off the track record. Secretariat then headed to Saratoga, known as the Graveyard of Champions, for the Whitney Stakes on August 4. Facing older horses for the first time, he was unexpectedly beaten by Onion, trained by the giant killer Alan Jerkins. The track condition was fast but running slow, especially along the inside rail. Secretariat, possibly suffering from a viral infection, struggled and finished second, a length behind Onion. His sluggish behavior continued for days, raising concerns. Despite the setback, Secretariat returned to form for the inaugural Marlboro Cup on September 15 at Belmont Park. Initially intended as a match race with stablemate Riva Ridge, the field expanded to include top horses from across the country. Secretariat, carrying 124 pounds, started 5th but surged in the stretch, winning in a world record time for 1 1/8 miles. The win made Secretariat the 13th thoroughbred millionaire. 2 weeks later, Secretariat faced another challenge in the Woodward Stakes. substituting for Riva Ridge due to a sloppy track. Although leading into the straight, he was overtaken by Prove Out, who ran the race of his life to win by 4.5 lengths. Just 9 days later, on October 8, Secretariat moved to turf for the Meadow War Stakes. Facing strong competition, he led early and responded to challenges from Tentem, ultimately winning by 5 lengths in a course record time. Last race. Secretariat's final race was the Canadian International Stakes at Woodbine Racetrack on October 28, chosen partly to honor his Canadian connections. Despite cold, windy, and wet conditions, a crowd of 35,000 watched as Secretariat, ridden by Eddie Maple, dominated the race, winning by 6.5 lengths. His final public appearance was at Aqueduct Racetrack, where he was paraded before 32,990 fans. Lauren expressed mixed feelings. "It's a sad day, and yet it's a great day. I certainly wish he could run as a 4-year-old. He's a great horse, and he loves to run." Secretariat's career concluded with 16 wins in 21 races, 3 seconds, and 1/3, earning $1,316,808. In 1973, he was named Horse of the Year and won Eclipse Awards as the American Champion 3-year-old male horse and the American Champion male turf horse, solidifying his legacy as one of the greatest racehorses in history. Chapter number 7: Secretariat's breeding legacy. When Secretariat retired to Claiborne Farm, he initially showed immature sperm and was bred to 3 non-thoroughbred mares to test his fertility, producing his first Secretary in 1974. His first official foal crop in 1975 included Dactylographer, a stand-up winner, and Canadian Bound, the first yearling sold for over $1 million. Despite early underperformance, Secretariat eventually sired major stakes winners like General Assembly, Lady's Secret, Resin Star, Kingston Rule, and Tinner's Way. He sired 663 foals with 341 winners and 54 stakes winners, but his legacy shines through his daughters, who produced 24 Grade Group 1 winners. Notable daughters include Weekend Surprise, Dam of Apiedy, and Turlingwood, Dam of Stormcat. Secretariat's broodmare impact includes champions like American Pharoah and Justified, with inbreeding success seen in Wise Dan and Speightstown. His paddock at Claiborne Farm bordered stallions like Spectacular Bid, with whom he formed a friendly rivalry, securing his legacy in racing history. Overall, Secretariat's influence on the breeding world, particularly through his daughters, remains significant, securing his legacy as one of the greatest racehorses in history. Chapter number 8: Secretariat's lasting influence. In the fall of 1989, Secretariat developed lemonitis and, after a month of unsuccessful treatment, was euthanized on October 4 at 19. He was buried whole at Claiborne Farm, a rare honor. His necropsy revealed an exceptionally large heart, estimated at 22 pounds, compared to an average horse's 8.5 pounds. This trait, potentially linked to a genetic condition called the X factor, is believed to have contributed to his extraordinary performance. Secretariat's pedigree traces this trait back to the historic racehorse Eclipse. Secretariat, a true icon of horse racing, was honored with induction into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame in 1974. His remarkable legacy extends far beyond the track, with statues erected in his honor at esteemed locations like Belmont Park and the Kentucky Horse Park. In 1999, ESPN recognized Secretariat's unparalleled greatness, ranking him 35th among the 100 greatest North American athletes of the 20th century, the highest placement for any non-human athlete. His monumental achievements in racing secured him second place in the Blood Horses list of the top 100 U.S. racehorses of the 20th century, trailing only the legendary Man o' War. Secretariat's acclaim continued with inductions into the Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame in 2013, commemorating his historic victory in the Canadian International 4 decades prior. Secretariat's enduring legacy is celebrated in various forms, including films and commemorations of his Triple Crown victory. As we bid farewell to the legendary journey of Secretariat, we are reminded of the enduring legacy he leaves behind. His tale is not just one of triumph on the racetrack, but a story of inspiration that transcends generations. As we reflect on his remarkable life, we invite you to share your thoughts and memories with us in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more captivating content celebrating the heroes of the turf. Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable journey through the life and legacy of Secretariat.